Howdy, it's RBB. I challenged you guys last video to see if you could get a little bit further in our snowman modeling. And since I saw you last, I added a carrot and some eyes and a scarf. And rather than walk you through that whole process, since it's really no different than what we've been doing, I just modeled these simple things kind of on my own, and I will show you in a sped up version right here. Check it out. Right, so I sped this up about 4 times the speed, and I wanted to make a carrot. And we talked the other day about probably making it out of a cone was going to make it too pointy. It was very hard not to make this very phallic, but I'm making a carrot. Get your mind out of the gutter. So all I did was I thought, since the carrots have some ridges, I went ahead and added some holding loops here and then took the middle loop, edge loop, and shrunk them in so it's sort of a segmented in some spots. And then I went ahead and um, used soft select to make a couple of just irregularities so it wasn't perfect. And then I thought it'd be kind of cute if it was a little tilted up at the end, little, kind of a perky little nose. So I renamed it, moved it over to the nose. And fiddle around with it for a little bit here, getting it just right, getting rid of the old silly nose, the old cone nose. And I thought it was kind of cute, give it a little bit of personality, not just this cone sticking out of his face. So the snowman has in general a lot of sort of buttony type things. So I just made one of these guys and moved it over, and I did it by making the cube, the smoothed cube, and then I deleted half of it because there's no reason to have, a bunch of faces just hidden in the back. And I thought, what I'm going to do? I'm going to duplicate this because I could use it for buttons or the mouth or whatever I want to later. So before I, call it an eyeball and do anything specific to it, I just made a couple of extras. And I purposefully did not name it yet. You'll see that it's Polycube 2, 3, and 4 because they were going to be used for different things. It's going to be used for an eye or going to be used for buttons or whatever. So once they were determined as to what they actually were, like these guys are eyes, then I go back and label them, put them in an eye group. And I'm just going to leave those in case I need them later on. So I thought I'd make the scarf. And I didn't really think that we needed to do this part together because it's so very similar to the hat. I just made a pipe and made it, approximately the right size and sort of fudged it around and got it into place. And then I thought, okay, well, this needs to be a little bit more organic. So I lowered the number of the area of effect there of the soft select all the way down to 1. And then I just sort of moved and tweaked some of the vertices to make it a little more organic. And I know that I'm going to smooth it as well, but I thought that that would be kind of nice, a little lower by his face, just a little bit organic. And then, of course, I'm going to smooth this. And then the last thing that I do is I went ahead and made the little tails of the scarf by taking a cube and extruding out little sections and sort of bending them. Now, there are a lot of more complex ways to do this very easily. I could have also grabbed like a pipe and deleted almost all of it, but that made sense to me was to make a nice short flat little rectangle and extrude out the way I wanted it to. That way I could bend this however I wanted to. And that's how it looks smooth. And that's nice. So I thought, oh, I should probably have some kind of little knot so it's not just coming out, not just coming out of nowhere. So I just duplicated it, made it into a smaller version of itself so it kind of looked like the knotted section. And it doesn't have to be exact. It's not like, well, clearly that's just, cut in and not really a knot. But, if that's what your audience is seeing, then, you're sort of defeating the purpose. It's not interesting enough that they're picking it apart. So I just made a duplicate of this guy and gave it like sort of 2 tails. And that was about it for the scarf. Now, this could be more complex. I might go back in later and tighten up the edges down there at the bottom where they're sort of rounded. I might flatten them off more like a little scarf. But there you go. That was just a couple of little details. And I didn't think we needed to do that part together. Hello, it's RBB. I totally need to go back and see what the last video was, what we did together. I think it was the one where I did sort of a sped up version of modeling some things. Since then, I have recorded many different modeling things and then either not posted them or forgot to save them or screwed them up. I'll tell you what, it's just been one of those weeks, right? So, what I think we're going to do together today is kind of review where we are, and we're going to make a door together, and I think we're going to make a window together, and we're going to make some buttons. Okay. So, I think in the last video, I'm not sure, we made a sweater for a guy. I didn't like it and I wound up remaking it. If for some reason that was not something that actually got posted, what I did, and I find it very helpful to do this, is let's say I want to put something on top of his snow butt. If I duplicate that said snow butt and do something to it, like delete half of these faces or something. Okay, not really, but let's say that's what I want to do. And this is going to be like a skirt or something. Okay. If I make this just slightly bigger than the original, because remember, it's an exact duplicate. If I make it slightly bigger, it's going to fit on top of this, right? But I know it's exactly the same thing because I just duplicated it. So if I extrude this, right, and I make it, give it a little bit of thickness, okay, give it a little bit of thickness because it's, I don't know, a skirt or something. All right, when I put this guy back into place, it is going to fit right over top, right? So maybe this is Mrs. Snowman or whatever, or maybe he wears a skirt, I don't, whatever, okay? I find this is a pretty helpful thing to do when I'm doing something like, let's say, a spaceship or some sort of vehicle, and maybe it's got a curved windshield, like these faces right here. Let's say this is the windshield in my snowman spaceship. And I don't want the windshield made out of the same thing as the spaceship, obviously. So I would duplicate this, move it over to the side, and in this case, throw away everything that wasn't the windshield. And in the spaceship one, throw away everything that wasn't the spaceship, right? So then when you put them back together, they're exactly the same shape and the same size. Anyway, I don't know how logical that is, but that's the way I do it, right? This is beginning. I was gonna make these buttons, and I gotta tell you, man, these buttons just about did me in. Because a couple things. One, it's actually very easy to make a button. What's the most logical shape? Of course, I would probably start with a cylinder, right? So if I started with a cylinder over here, let's make this guy bigger, and if we flatten this out, and then I think I'd make some more cylinders for some punchy holes, right? For making the holes for to sew the buttons, right? And then I could use my Booleans, right? A, B, mesh, Boolean, B minus A, boop, and there you go. And I could cut these holes, right? And not a big deal. They would look great. I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. But in my mind, I want you to recognize, even at this early stage, that this is terrible typology. Okay, so even if we delete the history here, we delete the history. Look at this. We've got, redonkulous n-gons plus a pole to start with. So while this is going to be a little tiny feature, it's crap, right? And we don't want to start out making crap. So how I made this button, and I made it probably 14 different ways, because then I thought, well, what if I just started with a round face? And so I use this disc, this poly disc. The problem with this is that the way this is divided, yeah, there's no poles, but there's also, like, see how these edges are like squares, right? Going off the side. And then I got this weird sort of triangle bit, and it's not radial, right? It doesn't really work. And so I was like, nope, that's not going to do it. So I thought, well, I'm going to start with a plane then. There we go. How about just a plane? And I could lessen the number of faces if I want to, just to make it I don't know, just to make it even easier. Let's see if 8 will do it. Because this is going to be such a small um thing in my scene. Not really all that worried about it, but I also don't want to have this awesome scene that keeps crashing, or some material keeps being broken, or some lights having a problem, and it's all because of one dumb literally little tiny thing. So what we've got here is I've got this disc. This is also going to tell you about a new tool that I don't think I've managed to post in an actual recording. All right, so I'm going to grab all of these faces, and this is just a plane, right? It's not a cube, it's just a plane. I'm going to grab all these faces and I'm going to circularize it, which is a weird word. So I can either hold shift and right click and there's circularize components, okay? But if you don't want to do that, it's also up here on the toolbar, okay? Right up here, turning squares into circles, circularize it. All right, now this is the way I wish the disc looked, right? These guys all face to the side, these guys all face up, these guys face to the side, these guys face down. Great. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So now if I want to cut out some buttons, let's do, this is one reason why I might want more divisions, because I'm getting a little close to the edge to make these buttons sort of centered. Okay, but so far everything is symmetrical, right? Well, not exactly. Look, we got one there. Yep, that's gonna bug me. Like, who cares? I care, man. All right, I'm gonna leave that plane at 10 by 10 because I know this one works fine. Okay, so we're gonna grab all the faces and we're gonna spherize, circularize it, not spherize. And now we're going to grab the faces and we're gonna leave like a ring of 2 around it. Does that make sense? Boop, boop, boop. 2, ring of 2. There we go. Ring of 2. Doo, 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 doo. You know what I mean by the ring of 2? So there's 2 on this side of it, 2 on this side of it, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. Now we could just go ahead and delete these, right? And then we'd have these little square holes, and who knows, maybe it's just a cool button like that. And as tiny as this button's going to be, that's probably good enough. But I want to show you what else we can do. I'm going to hit Control Z and step backwards. And now that those faces are selected, I'm going to circularize them. Oh, and all it did was move the vertices around. You could do that yourself if you wanted to. Now I'm going to delete it. Okay, so now it's symmetrical, it's lovely, it's gorgeous. And if we grab all of these faces and extrude them, okay, if we extrude them, remember if it's black, it's inside out, so extrude them like this. Okay, as thick, whatever kind of button it is, right? It could have 2 holes, 3 holes, whatever. I'm not a buttonologist. And I'm going to grab this guy, and if I smooth it, it's gorgeous. The typology is lovely. It's symmetrical. There's no weird pinched edges. Oh my goodness. Okay, so all that being said, I'm going to delete that guy. Boop. I made these buttons over here on his little sweater. I also made a couple of extras. Sometimes I wind up with like a junk pile because I'm like, oh man, I need another button. So I've got extra coal here for his face, and extra buttons. Okay. Somewhere I have a mouth. I don't know where it went. Where'd your mouth go, buddy? Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to center that pivot boop, on this mouth group. And I moved my snowman a little bit, so his whole mouth disappeared. Whoop. All right, that's a group. Let's move it over. Da, da, da. Okay, so that's all I did. Nothing terribly fancy. That was these half discs we made the other day for his eyes. Okay, great. So we're all caught up in how this guy is made. Doesn't he look, I don't know, Edwardian? What is like all the Christmas stuff? Edwardian, right? Not Victorian. I don't know. Everything's always Victorian. Why are ghosts always Victorian? Like no one ever says, I saw a ghost. He was wearing a hoodie. Like it's always, she was wearing a long white Victorian gown. Nobody ever sees like a ghost in a hoodie. I also am not aware if I posted a video where I showed you how I got these lines on everything. Because sometimes in lining things up, I need to see the lines, right? And to do that in my viewport right here, I just went up to shading and went to wireframe on shaded. This is with it turned off. So I can't, unless I have something selected, I can't really see the edges. So if I do wireframe on shading, it just shows me where all the faces and edges and everything are. All right. So I find that kind of helpful. All right, we're going to make a door. Now, I made this door the other day by creating a pipe, right? I made a pipe, if you recall. Who knows? Maybe I didn't even do that video. I don't know. I'm allowed to have those weeks too. And I grabbed all of these bottom faces, right? And I think I filled the holes. If not, I just grabbed this edge loop and extruded it down. So again, just to show you, edge loop, extrude. Nope, not you. Okay, so that's how I made my little doorway. Okay, and I gave it more divisions just in case I wanted to model or futz around with it a little bit, but I didn't have to. All right, so what we want to do is I'm going to use this as kind of my template here because I want to make a door that fits in here. And it'd be kind of cute if it was like a round top door, maybe with a whole window. Do you guys watch Peculiarly Ashley? Peculiarly Ashley? She's obsessed with both octopi and round windows. Okay. But if I was going to make a door out of this, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, because the arch of the doorway has a hole in it, and that's great. If I made another pipe like this, and I wanted to make the door, let's say this is the rounded window, top part of the door, and I wanted to extrude the faces down. I could, right? I could grab these outside faces. Let's just try it. Could work. Okay. Now, when I extrude, the problem here is going to be that they're going to extrude along their normals, right? So they're all going to stick out. So when I say extrude, they're going to go, whoa, all kinds of cuckoo crazy, right? In fact, I'm going to go past the extrude, back behind the extrude, and I'm going to grab one more of each face. You can do this, you just have to finagle it a little bit. So if I were to extrude this, everything's going to extrude along the normal. And it's like, well, that's kind of crazy. Okay. But I can also adjust this, right? And get rid of these faces. And I mean, I can futz around a little bit with these and pull them in, right? I could use my scale and pull these guys in and they'd all be part of the same door. So let's try that. I'm going to, okay, not you, not you. Extrude in. Wait, let's not do the extrudy bit. Let's just do this. There we go. Okay. I mean, I'm like forcing this to work. It is. I mean, it's kind of working, right? So, I mean, I guess you could do it that way. But what I would have suggested, maybe it's a good day because nothing's been working like this so far. Okay, let's say that's good. All right. And the nice thing about it here is that we've got all four-sided polygons. All right. So some of this is a little goofy and I'd want to move some of this stuff over, like you straighten yourself out. Straighten yourself out. Look at yourself. Okay. Straighten some of these guys out, make them look a little better. All right. But it's not a big deal. There's a door. It's adorable. And I'm going to flatten it because it's a door. Okay, so that's one option for making a door. And actually, it worked a little better than I thought. So we're going to scooch that guy to the side. What I thought would be easier is to make the pipe, okay, and shrink it to the right size for fitting in the doorway, right? Okay, should make it a little bigger for now. We're going to smoosh it down because it's a door, right? And instead of trying to extrude and make it all out of one piece, when you look at your door, it's not made out of one piece of wood. It's not one gigantic stone, right? It's made out of several pieces. So just because it's all going to be door colored doesn't mean it all needs to be a door from one piece. So if I grab just what is this guy? A cube, right? And elongate it and let's make it wider. And if we had done this, if we had lined this up actually at the origin without moving anything, we could snap it and make sure it was exactly the right size. We're going to call that close enough for government work, right? We're going to scoot this down to right there. Okay, so there we go. Now I think this cube is going to need, let's give it some divisions. So I'm going to give it my multi-cut tool, hold to control, and there and there. Okay, Q to stop doing that. And what I want to do is I want to grab these two, or even probably just this face would work. I'm going to grab this face and push it down. There we go. So now you can tell that these are two different pieces, right? And when we go to put a material on this, we'll put the same wood material or whatever as this, and it's going to look exactly the same. So let's turn the wireframe on shading off, and you'll see that this looks great, right? It looks like a single piece. Oops, there's a little bit of a fudgy bit there. That's okay. All right, so that's pretty good. Now, the only thing I need to remember to do is, and of course we can snap this too, but there we go. I want to not combine. I don't want to combine them because if I combine them into one piece of geometry, I'm going to have all these weird n-gons and stuff. So instead, I've got bottom part of the door, top part of the door, and I'm going to control G to group them, right? And that group is round window door. I don't know how many doors he's going to have here, right? So now there's a door and here's a door. I'm going to call this one a door. Door. Maybe that's my extruded door, and here's my round window door. Okay, so now we know that this guy, if we even the center the pivot on this group, that's not exactly where we want it to be, right? Because if we were rotating it, it's not a revolving door. We want to move that over to the side, so I'm going to hold the letter D and scoot that hinge over to where the hinge would actually go, right? Let's test fit this, shall we? All right, I'm gonna back up and write this guy up. I do want to tell you something else too, because it's something you may have seen. Like I said, I cannot remember what I posted and what was just a nightmare and I deleted. But sometimes, as I've been working, you'll see that my widgets, right, my move and scale and rotate guys, were off kilter. They were like off center, and to where I couldn't move it forward and backwards. It was sort of like at a weird angle. And that's because my stuff was in world mode. If you're like, what are you talking about? I'll tell you. Get this guy in place here. Okay. So right now, there's my door, and here's my widgets facing up, down, left, right, side, side. Okay. It's in object mode. If this stuff was off kilter, like if this was centered like this, right? To where it was forward backwards. See how it thinks now that's forward backwards? But the world here at the origin, the world is this way. Okay. And it can screw you up here. So whenever you want to switch between world mode and object mode, if you double click on the tool, so this is my rotate tool. If I double click on the tool, right here at the top, axis orientation is in object mode. If I switch this to world mode, you'll see it snaps to the orientation of the grid, but now it's all collywobbled to itself. So I'm going to put that back to object. It's up to you. People like working different ways. It makes a little bit more sense to me to work in object mode. Then my objects are moving forward and backwards the way I think they do. All right, so now this door, whoopsie, hit the up arrow to grab the whole thing. Oh, there's my door. Yay! Okay. I'm going to move this door over, and I'm going to make them bigger. I like working on things just bigger. It's not really doesn't make any difference because it's all just CG, right? But all right, so let's put some more elements here. I think if this is a wooden door, I probably want to have a ring around this door, right? A ring around this window here. So that makes sense. That would probably be another pipe. Let's move that pipe over here. Rotate, rotate. Get bigger. And we haven't really done anything to it, so let's make the radius of this, no, the thickness pretty small. Let's make it 0.2. 0.2. There we go. Oh, good. Okay. Whoa. All right, now I'm going to hit R to scale, right? And this is wood, or I assume it's wood. I mean, I don't know. Snowmen make their stuff out of snow, probably. Whatever. I'm going to shrink this in till it's the right size. Okay, and let's back that glass up. See what I did there? All right. So now I don't want to smooth this, but I do want to bevel it. Okay. Okay, because I'm thinking like, well, it's made out of it's wood. It's probably going to be, beveled a little bit smooth. Okay, so um, back back it up a tiny bit. There we go. So I could grab these outside edges and these inside edges, and we could bevel. Now, some of you may say, no, you need holding things. I might. Let's check it out. Nope, that wasn't too bad. I'm going to lower the fraction just a tiny bit, and I think that's going to look pretty good. All right, now that is a little bit faceted. So if we look at it like this, okay, we're going to see it from further away, so we may not notice those facets, but we might. So I'm going to smooth it. Okay, so now that's much nicer little door frame there. Okay, and if you want little cross pieces for the glass, I would say, now the crazy person in me is like, couldn't I extrude them from this? Yes, I could, but why? So I'm going to make a little tiny cube, bring the cube over. Oh, oh hell. Cube. Okay, cube. Sometimes I make everything like at the origin and then go slide it into place. So, ooh, you know what? I have an idea. What if I take this guy right here, focus in on this guy, and what if I were to extrude? I was just going to make two of these, right? I was going to make a tall one for top and bottom and a side one going, um, side to side. But let's do this. What if I grab this face and this face and extrude? Okay, nice. And I'm going to grab this face and extrude. Nice. All right. We might need to tuka some more. It's possible. C'est possible. All right. So that's my little cross pieces. They might be too big. We'll find out. And move that into place. Oh my Lord in heaven. So depending on how like dainty, I guess you want this to look, we could shrink this way back this. Right? And then we could grab those faces and move them back into place. Let's do that. I think they'd look cuter like that. So I'm going to grab the first and you. Gotcha. It's like locks in a vault. Gotcha. Gotcha. And a final gotcha. I don't care that they're just stuck into the wall because no one's going to see it, right? I don't care. I don't care. Care. It is uneven that I do care. We could go to my orthographic and look at the front. Probably side, actually. Let's see. Is it side? No, I think we're looking at it from underneath right now. Oh, there we go. Now we can see. This actually wasn't as crooked as I thought. There we go. That looks centered. All right. Now we want to probably group these guys. Oh, look, that ka came off. Get your little ka-chow in there. These aren't real words, you know. Don't care. You, sir, are going to move out right here. This face needed to be a little bit longer. Boop. Okay, it was just all in the way. All right, there we go. And maybe scoot it back a little bit. Looks like all the things are sticking in there. Now, this might be part of this outside frame, in which case it would be sort of behind that frame, right? Or it could be in the frame. Whatever, it's up to you. If you want to be all snow-protect. But I'm going to combine this and this. Okay, these two are going to be the wooden window frame. All right. Now inside that wooden window frame, I need to this is the crossbars, and this is the wooden ring. All right. Try to get in the habit of naming things, right? Okay, so now we got a door. And we've got the wooden bits. Okay, now let's take the wooden window frame bits and center its pivot. And let's take that and the door group, round window door and round window frame. We're going to grab both of those and group them into door group. Now, I'm going to need to do this some more, right? Because I probably will have some hinges or some handles and things like that. And we can look at later on how to go back and add things into a group without just making another group, another group. We can pull things in and out of groups. So let's center that pivot. Let's make this guy smaller because we know we made him ginormous. Move him into place-ish. Focus. Still too big. Shrinky dinky. Right. Not too bad. A little short. Short there, buddy. It's a little short for a stormtrooper. What? Oh, beautiful. We're here to rescue you. Okay. There we go. And you can make this as fancy as you wanted. There could be a little kick plate down here. We probably will add a little doorknob, right? Stuff like that to make it all fancified. But I think that's probably good for now. We're encroaching on 27 and a half minutes. That's just ridiculous. Next time we come back, I'm going to do the same thing with the windows. Okay. So if I want to make the windows, I could cut a hole in my igloo itself, or I could just build a round window like this that's going to stick on the side. Okay. If we wanted to, we could grab these faces. And stylize it. Okay. And we could do a window like that. If we did that, that's a little bit twisted, isn't it? I know I said I was going to stop. I twist, untwist, just a bit. Okay. Because I'm just having fun. I could extrude this. Oop, make sure we didn't have anything weird anywhere else. Oh, we did. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that back there. A window, a window, a window, a window. Spherize, extrude, and push that in. Oh, see what we're doing there? Now he's got a window we can see inside. Oh my God. I think I'll even delete that. Pow. Okay. So now we could see inside if we wanted to have some cool stuff in there. And if we needed that to be more rounded, we could. All right. That is really enough. Next time we come back, we should be further along. Now, here's something I keep forgetting to do, and that is save my scene. I'm like, bye-bye, and then I turn it off and I have to redo everything. So don't do that. I'm happy with this being called snowman scene. So instead of save as, I'm going to increment and save. Okay. Increment and save. And now it's snowman 3. And next time we come back, all of this stuff will be here and I won't have to redo it. All right. Well, I hope that that was helpful, and I will actually post this, which I haven't been because everything has been terrible. All right. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.